Hey guys, welcome to The Sophisticated Scoundrel. Today we're going to be talking about how guys simply need to slow things down a bit, dial it down with the pace at which they're getting into relationships, because it's really causing a lot of self-sabotage. So we'll get into that. But beforehand, please download my 5-step guide, the 5 steps to finding your life mission and purpose. This is a completely free guide and a little video that I put together to help you get through this guide. It's for all the men out there who are looking to find their life mission and purpose, who want to have some more direction and clear purpose in their life. So give that a shot and download that today. Okay, so let's get into this topic about how men need to slow down. So again, there's this saying that goes, slow to hire, quick to fire. Now, it's mainly a business slogan that's about the idea that when you're looking for a new if you're an employer looking for a new employee, you want to take your time and really get to know them before you decide to sign them on. But when things are going down the tubes and it's just not working, you got to get in there and cut it off quick and fire them, and boom, we got to move on. Don't linger, because that generally tends to just make the situation even worse. And I like this phrase because it's very relatable to dating, because I talk to a lot of guys out there who just, and this is what men do, okay? I'm not going to say this is just like these guys' issue. This is most men, a lot of guys do this. They see the hot girl, the beautiful girl, and maybe they get a date with her, and now all of a sudden they're in their head thinking, okay, I can see the wedding, the house, the kids, the perfect family. She's going to be by my side, all the great sex we're going to have, and da-da-da. And you're just living in fantasy land, like way beyond what needs to happen. And when a man does this, he generally tends to get what happens is his behavior starts to take on more neediness and desperation and puts her on a pedestal. He's thinking about how beautiful she is and how she's gonna be the perfect wife or girlfriend. And so he subconsciously starts to butter her up a little bit, starts to be a little bit too agreeable, is a little bit afraid of losing her. And so, and eventually the woman kind of picks up on it and is a little bit turned off, because when he gets like that, that's very, almost like feminine behavior. It's very needy, and it gets, because when a man, so here's the thing, a man needs to focus on just creating an atmosphere where the girl feels safe, comfortable, and has a good time. He should not be thinking about connecting and bonding and having this relationship. That's the woman's department. A woman, when she slowly starts to get to know a man, she's going to start thinking, well, where's this going? She's going to want to reach out to you more, connect with you more, feel your masculinity, connect on an emotional level. When a man wants to do this at the very beginning, he starts talking about, marriage, how many kids do you want to have? Where do you want to live? I mean, I've literally talked to men who talk about these subjects on the first or second date, and it's way too fast, too soon. A woman develops feelings for you slowly. She needs to get to know you. You got to open her up and get inside, and that takes several weeks. Yes, granted, there are times where a woman is just boom, she just onto you quickly. There's that very instant attraction, but that doesn't happen very often. Most of the time, it's going to be something more slow, and it's a build up. Slow. It's like foreplay and sex. A guy is like fucking boner and just banging in 2 seconds, whereas a woman, it's a little more fun, like building up, speaking to her in seductive ways, getting her mind aroused, and then it just really gets her going. And then boom, once she hits that, though, she is just, wetter than can be. So it's the same thing in a relationship. So when you're a guy starting off a relationship, remember that, slow to hire. You need to get to know this woman, because that's a very important decision that you're going to make. You want to make sure, okay, yes, she's hot. Yes, she's got the big boobs. But what is she like? If I'm busy at work this week and I'm not able to text or not able to get in touch with her, is she gonna lose her shit, or is she going to be cool about it and be like encouraging, like, hey, babe, great job. I know you're busy, but I really, I'm excited for you and I support you. Is she gonna do that, or is she gonna be like, hey, where are you? How come you're not messaging me? I've messaged you all day and you haven't responded once. Is she gonna be like that? And these are the things that you need to look for. What is her relationship like with her father? Is she like, oh, I hate that son of a bitch? You know, like, oh, I never had a father. He left my mom, and you know, I don't trust men. Does she say that? Because if she says that, well, you're gonna want to avoid that. It doesn't matter how hot or, you know, sexy she is, because that is gonna mean a lot of trouble for you later on down the line. She's gonna already not trust you because you're a man, just for that fact. She's gonna be very what's the word? Suspicious, or very. She's gonna kind of always have to be skeptical of what you're talking about. She's going to take everything you say with hesitation. She's not going to be on board. You know, where a woman who does trust a man and who has a great relationship with the father is going to be like, okay, yeah, you know, like. She's not going to question things because she's like, well, I grew up, my dad he did what he said he was going to do, and he always came through, and so that's just what's normal for me. And she's going to think that, and so you're not going to have these little petty arguments and things like that. You know, you want to be able to see, now, is she in line with my values when it comes to health and fitness? Like, does she sit around watching Netflix and eating Doritos all day? Or does she try to eat healthy? Does she go for walks? Does she do some sort of exercise? Does she actually care and treasure and value her body? Does she treat it like God's gift? Or does she treat it like shit and, you know, drinking, smoking, drugs, all this other stuff? You know, these are very important things too to look at, you know, because if you're a guy who's healthy and wants to maintain a certain lifestyle and wants your girlfriend or wife to maintain a certain look and appearance and health level, then you need to consider these things. You know, what's her view on children? Does she like kids? Does she not like kids? I mean, if you want to have kids, is she someone who would be a good person to raise children? You know, does she look to you as the leader of the relationship? Does she respect the man of the house? So when you have kids, she's going to be like, you know, your father is the leader of this household. We need to listen to what he says. Or she'd be like, oh, that stupid idiot. You know, ugh, can't stand your father. He's just a lazy loser, doesn't know what he's doing. You know, is that how she's going to feel? Because if that's how she feels, then, hey, man, you're not going to want to keep seeing a girl like that. So, you know, these are all things that I think you should take into consideration so you can get into the mindset of, hey, you're both trying to figure out if you're good for each other or not. That's what the first couple of dates are for. Hey, is this girl cool? You know, could I see, is she worth spending more time with? It's not for you to suck up and be like starting dreaming about kids and asking all these deep questions. No, you want to just get a sense for who she is. And, you know, like I say, it's like women really, you know, people in general, they put on sort of a good face. Not that they're trying to be deceiving, but, you know, for the first 3 months or so of a relationship, it's the fun times, it's the honeymoon phase. So you might not see some of the things for a little while, you know. I think that one of the most powerful things is, you know, it's not necessarily how well you get along. I mean, that's obviously very important, but it's how well can you get through tense times and tough times or disagreements. Because if you can't communicate in disagreements, you know, just even small things, it's like there's a little bit of a hurt feeling situation, or I don't know, just whatever sort of a disagreement or tension or friction, if, you know, your response is just to shut her down and not communicate, and if her response is to get all mad and walk away and not want to open up and talk about things and listen to each other and try to understand from each other's perspectives, that's going to be a really bumpy, rocky relationship. And after all the funness of the honeymoon phase and the sex and all the cool stuff with that goes away, not go away, but just after that kind of, you know, fades off a little bit, and if you guys don't get along on that level where she's on board with what you're doing and you feel really good about what she's doing, then again, this is where things just start to go downhill and crash and burn. So the other angle of this is if you're too quick, too fast, you're going to push her away so you don't even get the opportunity to get to know her further. A man who's talking about kids and, oh, I want to have kids and how many do you want to have? And I mean, dude, that's just, you know, it's way too fast, too soon. She doesn't know you on that level yet. Take some time. You just want to keep things light and fun on the first several dates. Don't be getting it so wrapped up in all these things. Because a lot of guys will tell me like, oh, well, you know, I want to establish from the beginning, like, this is very important to me. That's great. But you as a man need to have a little bit of self-control. You don't need to just spill your guts on the table and just say everything, put everything on the line. That's a lot for one person to deal with. You know, just think about if the girl did that to you and was just saying all this shit to you and, telling you about her whole life story, you'd be like, dude, like, okay, just slow down. I can't even understand and remember everything that you're telling me. Just relax. And this is the same for you as a man. You need to do the same thing. Slow it down. You can still get to know things about her in a fun way, Like I always tell guys, hey, just kind of like talk about, if you want to get to know her family a little bit on that first date, just be, say, oh, I was just talking to my mom the other day about this, and that. And then just throw it back at her to say, hey, how often do you talk to your mom? Does she ever call you all the time? Or what's your guys' relationship like? And she'll open up and she'll tell you about her family and stuff. And that's when you can sort of like, in a fun way, okay, she seems to get along pretty well with her family. That's a good thing. That's a good sign. So again, it's a very subtle way to do it in a gentlemanly fashion. You don't want to say, okay, do you get along with your father? Do you hate your father? Do you have a father? I mean, don't be saying stuff like that. But you can do it in a much more smooth, sort of less confrontational way. Just make it part of the conversation organically. So anyway, keep in mind that, again, slow things down, create an ambiance of just fun and good feelings on those first several days, and don't rush into it, okay? Slow down your approach. And when things aren't going well in that initial stages, then that's a great opportunity for you to leave, Don't think you can save or change someone if they're really fucked up, and you're not going to be any different than any other guy. Don't be Mr. White Knight. Don't be Captain Save-A-Ho, because it's not your responsibility. You want to get in there with a woman who's ready to roll and who's at a good place in life. Yes, you will have to work with her. Yes, you will have to, develop her and have her get to know who you are and what your boundaries are as a man. But you don't want to have such a big assignment ahead of you that she's totally fucked up and you got to completely rework her and all this stuff. That's not what you want to be doing, okay? So slow it down, get to know her on those first couple dates, and stop thinking about the marriage and the kids and the house. But yeah, have you guys ever done this before? I'm really curious to know what your experience is, because I have talked to a lot of guys who've done this, and it's just, they always say, yeah, for after the first date, they just kind of lost interest, or I got ghosted. The first couple dates started hot and heavy, but then they backed away. What has your experience been? Let me know in those comments down below. And if you want personal coaching and one-on-one to get through an issue like this, I have links down below to book a session with yours truly. So if that's something you're interested in, please give that a look. Otherwise, we will see you in the next video.